attendees,
Okay,
because people may start
5 minutes.
coming
Yeah.
in.
At 55, make a wish.
Alrighty.
Actually,
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our third workshop in the virtual series that Afrowave has been hosting for the past couple of weeks. This is the workshop on branding, and I'm going to be moderating today. My name is Karis. Just a little bit about me. I am a singer, songwriter, music producer. And then after studying music business, decided to kind of spend some time in the business side of the industry, and that led me to be working with Afrowave. Currently, if you don't know much about Afrowave, it is an initiative that was started by a Toronto-based artist. His name is Lexicon. Most of his stuff is in the dancehall genre, and he kind of noticed as an artist himself that he wasn't able to find a lot of resources or panel discussions like this, or platforms that cater to what we like to call culturally driven sounds. So reggae, dancehall, soca, Afrobeats, and the like. And so he kind of created this to kind of bridge that gap so that artists who are in those genres would be able to have equal opportunity and equal access to those resources and those platforms. So today we have the Hook and Co. with us. We have Kerry-Ann Wright and Michelle Allman. How do you pronounce your last name? I don't want to get it wrong.
Almond Esdale.
Esdale. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have them tell us a little about themselves first and how they got started in the industry.
Yeah.
Michelle, do you want to get started?
I'll let you go.
Okay. I've basically been in the entertainment industry more than half my life, actually. I started off as a dancer, professionally trained, specializing in Afro-Caribbean. And from there, I branched off into modeling, voice work, event hosting, etc., etc.
It's an etc.
It is. My main role within The Hook is running the Hook Entertainment Division, where our focus is on the end user perspective and how they relate to the entertainment.
Cool.
And I'm Michelle, and I myself started off as a musician playing piano, studying at the Royal Conservatory of Music. Later on, transferred that instrument into the beautiful instrument of steel pan, which I absolutely adore. I do have a corporate background in finance. I guess probably almost 20 years of my life in finance. So organization, systematization, budget, all that good stuff as far as the business aspect of how things operate. That's me. So I handle the Hook side, which is basically a referral company for musicians and music artists to find anything that they need to pretty much project, progress, propel their career in whatever direction. And we connect them with these individuals or service providers based on beautiful criteria like their budget, which matters, service location at times, any genres that are specific, which is really good because speaking to Lexicon, I understand that position, and any other special requirements. So we make sure that everybody gets what they're looking for. So that's me.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the importance of networking and connecting with people, and just how you can get access to resources just by the people that you know, especially in this industry. So these panelists will be people that you want to take notes from
Yeah.
for all the attendees that we have in
Yeah.
today. So we just want to get straight into it and talk about what are some of the first steps that you would recommend for artists that are trying to establish a brand. You've decided you want to be a professional artist and go into the industry. What are some of the first things that you do to kind of establish that identity?
Okay.
You want to start with that one?
Wow, here we go. I think first and foremost, you really have to understand who you are. I think that's really key in regards to your music. It's your why, not so much your what, but your why. The connection as to the messaging that your music is doing, your interest as a person, just a normal human being walking on earth, and then translating that through visuals and conversation. So that is the representation of your brand. And you can, I guess the key is to attract the people that see eye to eye with who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and what your conversation's all about.
100%. I agree. And I think it's important to also note what branding is. A lot of people get it mixed up and think, oh, my brand is my logo. Your brand is your logo and every other thing that leaves a lasting impression on somebody. So in its simplest form, I like to say that your brand is what people think, feel, and say about you when you're not in the room. So once you know who you are, I always like to make sure people know who they're talking to. Because if your brand is not communicating in the same language as the audience that you're trying to speak to, it's a miss.
It is, always. You know, it's interesting because I think people get tied up with brand and marketing. What I've come to realize is marketing is what you do when you're trying to bring awareness, but branding is what you do when you're trying to bring value. So it's how you communicate. That is really the key.
That makes sense. On the note of logos, so from different workshops and stuff that I've gone to and different artists that I've spoken to, there seems to be a, do I need a logo as an artist? Should I have a logo as an artist? Is it necessary? And kind of I've seen like some artists have an established logo, but then use totally different fonts for their names in other places. What are your opinions around that? Do you think it's necessary to, what do you think about your thoughts on having a logo as an artist?
I like verification. I think that's really what I'm going to choose to call it.
That's a good word.
Yeah, McDonald's. I mean,
yeah,
they spell their whole name. You know what I mean? They've got that brand down. But when it comes to logo doesn't necessarily have to be like a shape or anything. I think it can even just be
typography.
Yeah,
just
text, it could be your name, the way you sign it, or the whatever font that you use, like Eminem. You see Eminem's logo, it's the backwards E and the backwards E at the end with Eminem in the middle. But that is his logo, even though it's his name. So there's an identification.
Absolutely. Logos are important. They're not mandatory, but I definitely think that they're impactful in developing a brand, especially when consistency comes into play. And I find that especially within the entertainment industry and creatives, guys, less is more. We love, because we're creative people and there's so much going on in our brain, we love to put every little thing and all these layers and meanings into it. But really and truly, the simplest things can make the biggest impact.
Absolutely. And especially if it's tagged behind consistency.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. And brand is consistent.
Always.
It's absolutely 100% consistent.
Yeah.
So as soon as you veer off, you've moved away from your brand.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of artists use, or those who do choose to use logos, kind of use it most commonly as like a backdrop for their live performances and stuff. What would you say around them using it for album covers, for example? Because what I've seen a lot is people style their names, most people style their names differently on album covers. There are some people who use that same logo. Would you recommend it being on the covers that you put out, or is it more something that you think could be used more liberally, so as it's fit, or, you know, for a concert, but not for the album covers? Like, what are your opinions around that?
You want to go?
Yeah, sure.
I saw the fight.
With logos, there are sometimes variations of them, but they are used within context, right? In specifically to say album covers, depending on what the theme is of that album would determine whether or not the logo is appropriate. For example, if you take the Hooks logo, we have an icon as well as text. We can use either or interchangeably on their own or together, and it all depends on what we're using it for. You know, maybe something is so small that the text wouldn't necessarily be readable, but because we've established the brand, the icon will be recognizable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was a strategy, like that was on purpose.
Yeah, it needs to be.
Yeah.
8
months later, but it was, it took us 8 months to figure it out, but
it's for a lifetime, right?
It is. And I think what we're talking about here is professionalism.
Yeah.
We're talking about a career.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah. See, I mean, sometimes I get super businessy, so just reel me in. But you're talking about a career. you're also talking about a business. Artists have to grasp the concept that they are a corporation.
Yes.
They are Pepsi, they are Coke.
Mhm.
I've used this example many times. Pepsi is the corporation. However, Pepsi doesn't just come in a can. It doesn't come in just a bottle. It has a syrup option. It actually makes Quaker Oats too. Pepsi's the owner of Quaker Oats. So it's interesting. What I'm trying to say is though, is that it's how you want to make that delivery to
Yeah.
who is going to receive it.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to get a Pepsi bottle at McDonald's. I'm going to get the syrup form in a cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's who you're serving. So when you're talking about that logo, I think you have to identify exactly the service that
What
it's doing.
you're using it for.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So both of you have been in industry, a lot of parts of the industry. And so I think that you've probably become experts on your personal branding. What are some of the challenges that you faced to kind of get to that point? And how did you overcome those challenges trying to establish your own brand?
Okay. I'm going to let Kerry-Ann talk first because she has a better brand than I do.
That is not true.
It's totally
Mine's just
true.
different.
It's totally
Anyways, we're going to have that conversation later. Oh my goodness. So my personal brand is very fluid. I'm literally what people will call a jack of all trades. I would like to consider myself a Kerr of all crafts. And I think my greatest challenge has been, don't laugh at me. My greatest challenge has been establishing the respect and credibility that I know that I deserve within the industry. A common misconception is that, oh, if you're doing too many different things, you're not doing them well and you can't be taken seriously in any one of the things. However, it's okay to do multiple things, understanding that at any given time, there is a prioritized focus and proper and adequate effort is put into doing each of those things exceptionally. So I would like to think that I have done a great job establishing that credibility. And I like to make sure that everything that I do is fun and with lots of love.
Yeah. It's funny too, because this is something we've both spoken to in Wright too, having others take a look at your social pages.
Yes.
And let them tell you what that conversation is. So when you say with love, like, it's very loving. Let's put it that way. I'm relatively the same. I think I'll tell you, my hardship really is because I'm somebody who's usually behind the scenes. I'm not a shy person. My issue wasn't the conversation that I wanted to have or the maybe I won't use engagement. I'm amazing at the caption. I know exactly what I want to say and how to translate whatever I need to in order to get what I'm trying to say across. My issue was having my face to express that caption, because I'm an introvert a little bit when it comes to social media. So coming outside the box and really kind of breaking down some of your barriers to expose yourself in ways that sometimes just don't make you comfortable, but yet the message is strong enough that you have to identify the fact that it's really not about you, it's about who's receiving it. I think that's what I had to get around.
And what are your recommendations to artists who are trying to find that balance, actually? Because even as an artist myself, it's like, I'm fine doing a cover. I'll go all out for a cover. And of course, if you're doing video, your face is there. But for me to post a selfie is a whole other situation. So, I mean, it's the same face. You're doing the same thing, essentially. But one, for me, it's my music. And then the other, it's like, oh, it's just me taking a selfie. Do people really want to see this? So what would you recommend to artists who are trying to find that balance? How do you determine that balance?
This is part of the conversation I have with the artist strategies that I do. Just to kind of it's interesting. You don't all want to be about music on your page, unless it is completely a dedicated page for that, kind of like a fans page, but not. You want to be human too. I think the key for artists to understand is right now their music is the what, but the translation is the why. And when you start to talk about why you're doing what you're doing, to correlate with the what it is that you're doing and the how you're doing it, it kind of solves all that problem Sometimes I just say, because you're just a normal person on earth, what do you care about? And don't mention music. Tell me anything else you care about. Is it, feeding the homeless? Is it, systemic racism? Is it gender equality? Like, what is it? And maybe that is part of your conversation. Maybe that's part of your messaging in your music.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of use your everyday life activity that supports that conversation on top of what you're already doing in regards to your music. So it expands your content, and it expands the ability to connect and reach and not feel like it's just like selfie after selfie after selfie. Here's my new music. Here's my new music. I'm in the studio today. Like
lather, rinse, repeat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to be human. And the thing is, your super fans, the ones that you want, because if you have good branding, people overpay for good branding.
As they should.
As they should.
Yeah.
Really and truly. If I come off looking like I'm living, like I can really deliver something, I'm living this kind of lifestyle, and you believe that, I can charge you technically whatever, because you believe that.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not. So this is it. It's kind of that identification, really talking to your why versus your what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
like
going
that.
back to what Michelle had said about music being your business, people will always buy into who you are before they buy into what you're selling.
First.
And your music is what you're selling.
Absolutely.
People love a story, they love a journey. And I think at the end of the day, we're all just looking for tidbits in other humans that we can relate to.
Yeah.
So when you share other parts of who you are outside of your music, it also helps people understand, and it explains to them why your music is the way that it is. And it helps them put themselves into your music.
Exactly.
Which will then allow them to want to subscribe to it.
Yeah. Agreed. They want to know what's going on. It makes them come back again. It makes them check in, and now they're not missing the merch that you just put out. You know what I mean? Like it's a two-pronged fold, and I love it. I think it's smart. It's just good, smart business.
Are there any brands right now that you are really excited about their branding or their story, or you appreciate the way that they've conveyed their branding, especially on social media? And since it's Afrowave, especially if it's Black owned, because that's one thing that we like to champion here, are there any brands now that you think are doing this really well?
There's a few.
Oh, wow.
I think I would like to start by shouting out Design Your Soul.
Yeah.
Matthew Pompey, who is our, he's our go-to graphic designer. He's our personal graphic designer.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the translation is, as far as being on social media, is just phenomenal.
Really good.
Yeah. I like Kim Shuka. I really like Kim Shuka. I'm an energy person. I'm like all about love and light too. So she just breathes that. She breathes the warrior in you as far as being, a woman of color. And she's believable. Like I just scroll through that and I just feel good. I don't even have to read some of the stuff she says. Yeah. Visually, I feel good just looking at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's key, right? Like 100%. Visually looking at something.
Especially now.
Story.
It's the Instagram era.
Right.
There's a saying we have in our house, is like, if it's not on Instagram, it did not happen.
Right.
So
it's so
we cancel everything. We're like, okay, we'll decide after this is Instagram worthy, but it has to be kept because we're in such a visual age now. Even I think an important thing too is the algorithm for the social media sites that we use. If it's more than 20%, I think, text, then it doesn't get pushed to as many people as it could if it was much less. So I think that too can be an important factor in determining the type of content that you put out. One thing I did notice too was with the kind of rise of the Black empowerment movement that's been happening this year. There was a lot of text, a lot of posts with text, a lot of posts with questions, stories. And I think it's the first time I actually saw posts with so much text kind of move around so much and get so popular. So what would you say to artists who are, for example, for me, I will post text on mine, on my social media page, but I'll also do images. Do you think that now would be a time to kind of capitalize on the fact that algorithms are catering to more text on images because of the movements that are happening now? Or do you think that an artist should kind of stick towards the visual side since it's kind of been historically the more important factor?
Sorry, just to clarify, when you say the
Mhm.
text on the post
Text
itself
on the
or
post,
text
not
on
just
the caption?
captions.
Not the
Yeah,
caption.
because I did see, like, even with the Black empowerment movements, there have been a lot of images, of course, because that kind of conveys the story. But I've seen more than I did before text on the actual image, and they tend to be moving around more often now and become more viral than I would normally see. And I think that's kind of because the algorithms before it never usually catered to that. But do you think that it's more important to have visual aspects, or is text on imaging something that an artist should explore with as well?
I'm gonna jump in really quickly here. Every so often, you know, we go through these phases, especially with social media, where buzzwords really catch on. Algorithms is one of those ones right now.
Yeah.
And for everybody listening, my greatest suggestion is to throw algorithms out the door.
I was just gonna say that.
They're always changing.
Yeah,
There's no
can't
way to
keep up.
figure it out,
Yeah.
and you'll end up like it's a crutch.
Mhm.
It goes back to what I was saying before about knowing your audience.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of the Black Lives Matter movement and the fact that the people who are actually speaking out about it have so much to say, that's what caused the shift out of necessity and out of like knowing that the people needing to receive that information need to receive it in the quickest way possible. And that's literally right in front of their face as they're scrolling.
I agree 100%. I think I'm going to be honest with you. My take on that is, have you realized how quick this year moved?
Yeah.
Is moving.
That just goes to show you how people don't have the time. Like, it's like, go, go, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were locked down for a month and change, and it was all about social media, just to keep you half decently sane. So to catch anybody's attention, I think that happened partially out of necessity. As much as we're pointing out the Black Lives Movement, I think there's a few contributing factors to that. And secondly, because things are just getting faster and faster, and people have less time and less, what is that word that I'm thinking of?
Attention span.
Yes, attention span. In order to capture somebody, I think you have to kind of in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like quick. So that way, if it's enough, it forces you to pause just in time to read the caption.
Yeah.
So it's in regards to associating that with the artist, I think they have to pick and choose based on the content and what's important. And what text is that? Like, what are they saying on that post? Make it make sense. Don't just put it out there to catch an algorithm.
Absolutely.
Because it could be on something that's not going to serve you, and then you're confusing your audience now.
At the end of the day, like Michelle said, from the very top of this, you have to stay true to who you are.
Yeah.
So if you're a visual person, if you know that you're great on camera, if you know that you take great pictures, or if you know that you have an amazing voice, you have to use what works for you that you're most comfortable with. Now, that's not to say that you don't step outside of your comfort zone. But
that was a shot at me, by the way. It's a total shot.
But, you know, the prevalent platform or delivery should be what you're best at so that your message can be received in the best way possible.
Yeah. Agreed.
We have a question here. Seems to be personal.
Kerry-Ann.
I literally just cleaned my page off my personal life because I wanted to protect my friends and family from the negative Nancy's of the society. I have videos, performance footage, etc. What do you feel is most valued? So I guess family versus, because I think that came up when we were trying to talk about the balance between what you post. So they're just asking if you think performance footage would be more valued or personal life content.
Yeah, it's okay.
You go first.
Let's ask who the audience is first. I like to with artists, what I'll do is sometimes take a snapshot of their posts over, let's say, a 30-day period, and ideally look over the type of engagement that they're receiving. And you can almost start to tally even the double clicks and the comments and that, and associate it to the type of content you're putting in. And I'll have them kind of laundry list that content. So some is, let's say, music, some is lifestyle, some is,
Categorizes.
categorize what that content is in the whole aspect of your life, and do your thing. When you look back at it to recap, you will start to see a pattern. You will start to see who engages with what.
Yes.
So it'll start to get you to understand who's watching you to begin with, and what they're kind of looking for from you, sorry. And so you can start to even have that conversation, whether it's music based or personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody in music and entertainment should, like, let's just take Instagram, for example, needs to have either a creator account or a business account, because those insights, those analytics, those numbers, they're so important. Your audience will tell you what content is most valued, what kind of content that they prefer the best. And that's not to say that you have to always cater to that, because big part of social media is training your audience. But it will at least allow you to keep in mind what will be most effective, so that you can find a happy balance between the two.
Yeah. I before you move on, and just kind of tying that in, I actually had noted down 3 things to kind of, like, I guess, ask yourself or identify for the artist. And number 1 is understanding who you are as a brand. So pen to paper, guys. It always makes sense when you write it out, for sure. 2, who are you to others? Okay, what is it? What are you programming here? Who are you to a stranger on social media? And then lastly, I have, who are those strangers? Who are they? So when you can kind of, like, culminate that, then you can start to really put value into the content that you're creating.
That is, like, really one of the most important words about in relation to branding and social media, is adding value. If you're not adding value, you're just people any reason to do this.
A post is a post is a post. Nobody cares.
What's the most important thing about networking? Building relationships. And social media is designed to be social. Your brand has to do this in order for there to be a give and a take. You give and give and give, so people want to give back.
And if you're tired of social media, it's probably because you're giving and giving and giving and
too much to the wrong people.
That's right.
I was gonna ask that question. I was like, maybe that's going into marketing. That was the question I was gonna ask. What is, and this is from personal experience, what are the steps that you take if there is that disconnect between what is most true to you, especially as an artist, versus what your audience values? I can give an experience from my own life. For me, I consider myself a very soulful artist. That's kind of just been my whole vibe, very spiritual. But then I was at a friend's wedding, and I posted a picture, a video of myself, like a boomerang, modeling my dress, and it just went off. Like, people were coming in and liking, and it went crazy. And I was like, okay, well, this is definitely not the content that I just happened to get a really good video that day and say, you know what, okay, this is Instagram worthy, let me put it up. But it's definitely not the content that I saw myself posting frequently, or probably even wanted to post frequently. So what do you recommend for people?
Can I ask you why?
Go again?
Tell me why you didn't want to post.
Why I didn't want?
Yeah.
Because for me, it comes across as vain.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew that.
And my dad is someone who he's kind of like a jack of all trades. He finds fascination in all industries, and he said to me, "We're in the age of vanity." That was his response to me. But that for me was why I didn't want to post that content more frequently.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
What do you recommend for people who find that disconnect? Maybe not necessarily between like selfies versus the music, or you know what are considered the vain posts versus what you have to offer, or your talent, but just any kind of disconnect between what they want to post or what they've been posting versus what their audience tends to gravitate towards.
Right. Well, I think your audience is telling you a lot. Perhaps, you know, it's interesting. I heard a stat I took a program through CMI last year, and they said 80-20 is the magic number for for artists. So when you're not you don't have a song out, you don't have an album, you're just kind of like in that mid stage, the 80-20 split is 80% of your life, 20% of your music. When you have something coming out, you start to tip the scale, and now it's 80-20. So 80% of your music, 20% of your life. Perhaps you were doing maybe 90% of all your music, and somebody just wanted to see you breathe like a normal human being. You know what I mean? That's why I like her. She's so pretty. She's in a dress. Oh my God. I could totally hang out with her all day. You know, you've touched something. You've touched an emotion.
You humanized yourself again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So don't worry about narcissism. First and foremost, be proud of being beautiful. How about that? Yeah, really and truly.
She's like,
as an artist, you are the package. I mean, you are the package. Your music is the product, right? Everybody sees that can of Coke, and I'm going to another pot. This is crazy, but you know that.
I mean, thirsty?
So
drink some water.
So, I mean, like, you know, the can is red and white, and it automatically attracts you. You see it, you know what's going on, but not everybody wants to drink Coke. But you know the can. You are it, but your music is the product. So you have to find that balance. And I think they were just giving you a sign. They were just telling you what is also important to them, that they just see you live your life.
Interesting.
One of my biggest things is authenticity, and that's operating within how you feel and how you think the entire way.
Yeah.
It might not always line up with your audience, and that's okay, because we don't always get along with people all the time.
Yeah.
It's not our job to please people, but it is our responsibility to portray an honest and image filled with integrity. So if one day you're feeling really feeling yourself, it's okay to share that, because it's authentic to how you actually feel. And I think one of the biggest challenges that artists have these days is that, you know, it's Siri is.
Isn't that creepy? That always creeps me out.
It's that moment when they're about to post something, and it's like, oh, well, I don't want somebody to say this about this, and I don't want people, what if people think this? My simplest phrase to address that: get over yourself.
Yeah. I mean, branding is just a shortcut of how to perceive things.
Yeah. I like
to let it go.
Take notes, guys. Take notes. So the question that I wanted to move on to was, and it's a question that I've heard from a lot of people, is not just finding a balance between what you post online, but finding a balance between your branding and your music. So what are your thoughts around how much time and capital that an artist spends branding versus being creative?
I almost feel like they're one and the same, no?
Almost. I understand. You're asking, just to clarify, you're asking the balance between establishing that image versus creating the music, like the product.
Yeah, like where would you place more for emphasis? Because from previous discussions that I've had with people who are also in the industry, like emerging artists, it's kind of been like, okay, you can create all this music, but if your brand sucks, then it kind of just goes over. So you need to spend more time on branding. And then there are people who are like, well, if the music is good, the branding doesn't matter as much, because good music will float to the top. So what I've heard both sides, and for me, it's kind of just been you know. So what would be your thoughts around that as experts in this field?
You know, it's funny. I literally just said branding is how you perceive things. It's a shortcut to how to perceive things. So image and the music to me, I'm still hearing the same thing. I feel like they still slightly tie.
They do, to an extent.
Okay, so obviously there's things that you absolutely want to make sure, like you have really great pictures, none of them, you know, foggy, and you've got the your thumbprint on the screen when you took the picture. Drives me nuts.
Professional images.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still going. Oh, I thought you were laundry listing.
No, I was just emphasizing.
Yes, he's giving you all the poses on the side.
Yeah, because the thing is, again, this is a business. I find it very difficult for a business to have a great product with poor branding.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to buy my service if I can't even promote what the service is properly.
But also, keep in mind what we said at the beginning. Branding is not just the visuals in which, you know, communicate your brand, your reputation to the community or your audience. Branding is also how you deal with your audience.
Yes.
And what you're putting out to your audience. So what Michelle was saying before about the music and the branding going hand in hand, that is very true. But how you actually respond with and engage your fans is a big part of your branding as well.
It supports. It does definitely supports it.
What we were talking about before, how quickly we respond when things are asked of us. Artists, if you are being asked to do an interview, for example, and they're asking for XYZ promotional items, if it takes you days to respond, you could have missed that opportunity. If you don't have those promotional items to give them, you can miss out on that opportunity.
And what are some of those promotional items that artists should have on hand and ready? We touched a bit on it in the first workshop, but we didn't go in depth because of the topic that we were dealing with. But since we are dealing with branding, what are some of those things that you think artists should have on hand
for promotional use? And I'm assuming this is for the song or the album itself that's coming in.
Like let's say you have an album that's coming out. What are some of those things that especially that relate to the branding that is important for an artist to have on hand?
Yeah, media kit's great, but I mean, like, as far as for your socials or part of your branding, you know, I see pretty much everybody doing it, but like you got your cover art, you have your promo video, campaign content if there's a campaign around the song itself,
properly formatted social media headers and templates, bio, long and short, the logo, a properly curated website. If you have merchandise, a proper platform that people can easily purchase the merchandise. You basically want to make it as simple as possible for people to get everything that they need from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's as much as you have those assets or those tools, especially when you're promoting a single release or an album release, ideally knowing when you're going to drop that track or that album and prepping at least 6+ months in advance. You know your songs. You know what content you're putting out. Ideally understand when you're going to release what, put them on a calendar in advance. And again, I do this with artists where it's like, okay, so 3 singles coming out before the album. Okay, are we doing it month 1, 3, and 6? And then the album comes out, let's say month 7 or 8. Then this, what is the graphical elements that are going to support this? Whether it's the cover art, the flyer, the promo video. Next, we already have the songs laid out. You know when they're coming. Now let's work backwards. If you're launching it on the 15th, when do you have to have everything ready by? Probably, let's say, the 1st of the month, ready to go. So you're always like a few months in advance, but you have all that content. And that's just smart. You don't have to like stress yourself out. You don't have to think about too much. And I know everybody's going to probably think about the financial aspects of it all when I say this. But there are ways to kind of, and I know artists are the most savviest individuals when it comes to being frugal, when it comes to stretching that dollar. So if you have to turn to Canva, if you have to turn to us, for example, to find you a graphic designer at your price, you know what I mean? Like, do those things, but do it in advance, prep. And so you can even ideally start to lay out what that content looks through various tools like Planoly for your Instagram page or whatever. I think even Otter, like if you have a font, I think it's Otter, that app. You can speak into it and it'll transcribe based on your slang, and then you can, you know, go to what 1001
There's tons of
fonts.com.
resources. You just have to look for them, or speak to the people who can connect you to them.
But ideally understand what it is you're putting out, because you are putting out a product. And if anybody knows what you're doing, it's you. Artists, it's you.
Oh, you should.
Yeah. You know what your messaging is. Sometimes just talking it out, just having a mastermind session is like amazing. You get a couple of maybe non-musical friends and then some others that are your peers or in the music industry. And you sit around a table and just have that conversation, so you can ideally understand internally for your music friends what they think should happen, how they can assist you with what should happen. And then you have other individuals that are outside of that really don't know how things work. They don't know what that looks like, but they know what they want to see, and they know what attracts them. And technically that's who you're attracting, right? You want to attract that new fan. You want to get that new follower. So what do they want to see? Don't think too hard about it. You know best. But start to write down what, I will say there's power in the pen. Write down what that content is in advance. In advance. You know what you're doing. You do.
I've seen like, for me, I am an over planner. I will make plans and plans and plans like months in advance, and then it comes to the day I'm supposed to start releasing stuff and I start planning again. So I think that's a really good strategy in terms of kind of laying everything out and not thinking too much about it. And someone put same. In terms of laying everything out and not thinking too much about it and kind of just rolling with who you are. I think that's a really important message.
You know what might help with, sorry to cut you off.
Hold on, that's okay.
Do you have a team?
Me?
Yeah, for yourself.
Artist speak.
No, this is my team right here.
Get a team.
Make your plans and then give them your plans and leave it with them.
Yeah.
I think that's a question I've asked the last 4 panelists. When do you recommend that artists start to get a team for them? I've heard different responses. You know, some people are like, oh, you know, when you get to a certain level, when you're making a certain amount of income, sometimes you're blessed enough to have the team around you already. What are your recommendations? What are your thoughts in terms of getting it?
Possible.
Agree. Because if you're, you know, it's funny. You said you got to wait till you get a certain amount of money or a level. And funny thing is that team is going to help you get the money and the level.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, and I'm going to be honest with you, getting a team is a whole new topic. I promise you.
I would imagine.
But if you can get a team, that'd be great. Otherwise, I mean, use various tools like I've used. There's a couple. Asana is the one that's coming to my mind.
Asana's really great.
Asana is a
task manager.
A task manager tool. It's an app. You can basically put out your projects, assign a due date. It notifies you, and it also emails you, and then you can even tie in other individuals into those various projects within the tool. And so if so-and-so has to do this for you by this date, they can check it off and you can see the progress.
Right.
And I like that a lot, because the worst thing you could do with the team is micromanage.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready? Did you do it? Are you good? When is it going to get done? You're driving me nuts. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, so the key is really finding, obviously, individuals that you trust to do what they say they can do. Tell them what they need to do. Give them the hard date as to when it is done. Deadlines. Because if you just throw it in the air, they will too. And walk away.
Yeah. And
just walk away. You can tap in every now and then. Hey, how's it going? Do you need anything? But it's not to be like, where are you?
Yeah.
When am I going to get it? Is it done?
What's happening?
and that can be supportive of your content creator. Seeing how we're talking about branding, or, you know, a stylist, or the video shoot, or the photography, or any photo shoot, or whatever you're doing that supports the brand aspect of what it is you're doing. Get those people in play.
Yeah.
If you don't have a team, there's still people you know that can help you with a specific project. And ask them, do you mind helping me with this? This is all I need. I need it done by this day. I can give you my big picture. We can do this together. See what they say. You'd be surprised. Some people just really, people just really kind of want to help sometimes.
It's true. But you have to let them.
You have to ask.
Yeah, and you have to ask.
People don't ask
first, and then actually let them.
Yeah.
I find that one of the things that creatives specifically struggle with is letting go.
Yeah.
You know,
That
yes,
trust.
the trust. I know it's difficult, guys. It's your baby. I know, but sometimes you need a sitter. But you gotta find one that won't drop the baby.
Yeah. And you actually answered my next question. I was gonna go into the steps for an artist that's seeking like professional help with branding. So I think you've covered that.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to touch on is what are some of the things that you would advise artists against in terms of branding? There are a lot of things we said we should do, but what are some of the things that you'd advise artists against?
Not staying consistent.
Yeah, inconsistency is the worst thing you can do when you're trying to establish your brand.
Yeah.
And start small. You know, it can be something as simple as tasking yourself to develop the habit of posting every other day.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're really bad with posting once a week on the exact same day.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Or
consistency
invest in a
is
tool.
habitual. Or
Yeah,
invest in a tool
that'll
and, you know,
do
spend
it for you.
an hour a month, an hour a week, just scheduling stuff so you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Consistency is the biggest thing. So once you break that, understand that you're breaking the trust that you're supposed to have with your audience.
Yeah.
I would say another big thing. Sorry, what?
Go ahead. I know you're going to say it anyways.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I put mine in.
Okay, well, stop watching other artists and comparing yourself to them.
I would have won. I would have got that hands down. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you are who you are.
That's
they
it.
are who they are.
Authenticity.
Even if you want like the same success and same results or similar results as them, know that you will not get the same thing by emulating what they did. Your journey will be entirely yours.
Absolutely.
So let it go.
Absolutely.
Use them for inspiration at the least.
Success does leave clues. That is a key.
Facts.
I mean, write that down, guys. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So follow the clues.
Our two favorite sayings: success leaves clues, and how you do anything
is how you do everything.
I know that one.
Yeah.
I was raised on that one.
Wow, good habits.
Yeah.
Good habit. So you do the right thing all the time, you'll be that way. Yeah. It's hard at first.
Very.
But, you know, you do it long enough, it's like you're not even doing it anymore. So.
Yeah, you don't even think about brushing your teeth in the morning. Yeah. At least I hope not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to segue into artists that are probably looking to change their branding. We've seen celebrity artists do this all the time. What would be your advice for emerging artists who probably started in one, you know, on a certain path, but now have kind of reinvented themselves, so to speak, and want to change the branding that they have out there already?
Commit.
Yeah.
Commit and be consistent. We can't stress that enough. Honestly, consistency, I think, is the biggest thing when it comes to branding. So whether you're changing it, whether you're just establishing it for the first time, you have to be consistent and you have to believe it yourself. Authentic. The first thing that Michelle said tonight is know who you are.
That's it.
And stand by it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now I will ask you, if you don't mind me interjecting on your questions.
No. Go ahead.
Because I get this is a little bit of a sticky one, and I understand this question. I guess the question is, should they, like oh goodness, Cheyenne, I think it was, that cleared off
who purged her page,
purged the page and start fresh, or just ta-da, I'm a new person?
I'm a new person because people like to see the journey. So here's a good example. I change my hair all the time. And when you go back on my Instagram page, you can see all of the different looks and styles and transitions that I've had. People love to see the difference between then and now. It shows growth, you know, and especially if the change in your brand is a positive one, it gives people hope and inspires others that people can change for the better.
Yeah.
Sometimes that also inspires music industry individuals as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they're interested in your music, they obviously are going to check out what you're doing and your numbers and the engagement. They want to ensure that if they're going to invest interest in you, that you are professionally doing what you should do. So seeing that transition in some cases is a good deal for them because they realize, okay,
Adaptable.
right, this is where you're moving to.
Yes.
I don't, I have mixed emotions about leaving it and then taking it off. If I was to leave it, I probably would leave it maybe for almost like a 6 to 8 month period, maybe depending on how you transitioned or how you changed.
True.
And then I would slowly start to wipe it off.
Yeah.
Context is important.
Yeah.
It depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
Cheyenne asked if so I can do Throwback Thursdays to bring back those images and videos. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, we fully support recycling because especially if you have a growing audience, which if you're doing what you should be doing, you should. People aren't always going to scroll back and back and back to see the stuff. So you're going to have a bunch of new people that haven't seen that amazing boomerang that you posted in your beautiful dress. So yeah, bring it back. Wow them again.
No, but it's
I think
that's a story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you?
No, that's
okay.
okay.
Okay. I think too, another thing that I did notice, just on the whole hair thing. So I cut my hair off, like completely off all the time. And I did that in February, and I started noticing something where, for example, like I posted a picture with my hair like this, and people are like, oh my gosh, your hair grew back so fast. What'd you do? And that just brought up a whole new way for me to actually communicate with people. So I think that was a good point, because now people are like there are people who listen to my music who are also interested in what I do with my hair or with natural hair. So I kind of realized that that was another way that I could potentially, you know, connect with the people who follow me as well. So I think it's really good to have that journey as well. But artists are always evolving. Do you think that it's possible to change too much? Like, if as an individual, you'll always be evolving. But how do you convey that on your social media page without completely going from like this to this in the shortest amount of time and kind of throwing people off?
So like if you went from hip hop to country?
Yeah. or an example, like if you
from
country to like pop, or Rihanna went from like reggae to like rock. So, you know, like there's so many examples. So what would be your recommendation for, I mean, she's Rihanna, she can do it, but like emerging artists.
As you say that though, why can she do it? Because she's Rihanna.
Well, she has this is my opinion. If anyone in the participants group wants to, you know, send us your opinions as well. I think she has now been in the industry for so long and having like achieved so much, she has a base that will follow her to the ends of the earth, because her branding was so good leading up to this point. So now people kind of accept. Same thing with Beyonce. I think she has such an established brand that she's able to kind of do whatever she wants at this point and explore with it, and people will still like it. And she also has a strong team behind her that kind of helps her to convey that story really well, would be my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think the root of that, in its simplest form, is that Rihanna built a fan base that loves Rihanna.
Thank you.
Not just her music.
Yeah.
So as long as Rihanna is creating music, they will love the music that she creates. And even if they don't like the music that she creates, they'll still love her.
Yeah. Yeah, like we all have friends that just trip out every now and then, but we still love them, right? It's like, yo, you've changed, but it's the person, and that is the conversation. Sometimes even being open about that transition too, on your social platforms, you know, having your live moments or storytelling to say, this is how I've been feeling and this is what I'm trying out now, and walk them through that change with you. You may be surprised that the adaptability You may be surprised on how willing they are to watch you develop, regardless of what you're trying to do next.
People can be very, excuse me, people can be very forgiving when you're open, honest, and vulnerable about where you're at.
Vulnerability.
Because vulnerability is huge.
That's my favorite.
It's something we all experience.
From music.
Hey, Shanti.
Hi, Shanti.
Hey.
Yeah, everyone just saw her message.
I feel like our attendees are super quiet. Guys, if you have thoughts or questions, put them in the chat. Like, you have access right now. Use it.
What tends to happen is I get the questions after the panel, like the operations emails just fill up. And I'm like, guys, the point of the question and answer was to get the question. So, you know, no question is foolish. Just put it out there and we will give you an answer if we can. I wanted to talk about current times and branding. So with the pandemic, kind of like, as you said, almost everybody's back online. Yeah. What would you recommend for artists in terms of their branding during this time?
Understand it. They have the time.
Yeah.
Now's a perfect time for trial and error, because you can get that concentrated energy from people, that engagement, whether it's a yay or nay. It'll help you develop what it is you're trying to do alongside the music that you're trying to promote.
Yeah.
So I would strongly recommend that. Now's a really, really good time to do that. I hate to say this, it's breaking my heart, but live performance isn't going to be around for a little bit. We know this. Venues are in trouble. Artists, talent buyers, they've done some really funny things now. It's a nervous place to be. So this is where branding is key, because as I spoke before, the different products, the different funnels of products, your music's still a product. Live performance isn't the only place it belongs. Yeah. So, and as far as pivoting into the various funnels that you may have to utilize in order to support your music, as well as financially support yourself, if that's what your music was doing for you before, if you were engaged in a lot of live performances, now is the time to work on that transition. So you can roll everything into that once we get to a place where we can go outside and hug each other again.
Yeah. We had a panelist tell the attendees, he's like, operate as if this is permanent, because
scary.
Even saying like people that he works with in the industry, booking agents especially, they're booking for 2023, 2022. They're not booking for next year at all. So I think, because there's no guarantee, you know. So I think that that's a good approach too, because at least that way you're not putting yourself in a situation where you're going to have to start all over again once you can adapt to what has been.
Right.
Because this is a time that so many of us are literally experiencing the same things across the board. It's really, really important to take the time to really explore who you are beyond what you've done in the past, because sticking to the online demo or platform, the online world that we're dealing with today, everybody's doing it. Everybody's going live. Everybody's doing live performances. So you really need to understand what makes you different. What sets you apart. Why should I watch your live concert above and beyond somebody else that's broadcasting at the exact same time? And once I'm there, what are you going to do to keep me there?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So those are my questions. The last one is just any general takeaway that you would leave with the participants today. Just a summary or anything you think is most important for them to take away from this all.
For me, I guess because I really want people to ideally understand, or artists to understand their purpose. You're born with a particular gift that not everybody shares. And it is a way to communicate in ways that some people, regardless of language, they can only hear. And so speak it, be it, live it, breathe it, and understand that conversation that's in you that is dying to come out. ideally be okay with everything that you are about, and know that there are mistakes if you want to go there, but I don't like mistakes. I think it's just something you have to try and realize it doesn't serve you. Be okay with doing something that might be outside of the box, because I know hands down that to get outside the box, you have to figure out who's out there to give you the instructions on how to get out. And so test yourself. Be open and available to new things. I don't care if it's color palettes. I don't care if it's the type of photography, different fashion, different conversation, writing piece. It doesn't matter. Really kind of strip back some of the onion peels and see you for you, and be okay with that, and speak that language in all contexts when it comes to you, your music, your brand. Just do that. Just be okay with that. I always say there's 8 billion people on earth, and if you get 1% of them, you're doing okay. You know, so just do that.
Yeah. And once you're done the exploring, like, actually believe it.
Believe
If
it.
you don't believe it, then why should we? And play. Have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Have fun.
No matter how dark
forget
things get, if you literally go into everything, and underneath every thought process you have, there is a foundation of positivity, and here it goes, love. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, because at the end of the day, it's going to sit well in here.
Yeah.
And like Michelle said,
Beauty of purpose.
once you are okay with your decisions,
That's
can do
all
no
that
wrong.
really matters. Remember, and some of these hard times too that we're going through, and I'm sorry, I kind of just briefly looked at that Q&A.
I know, right?
Burnout is a thing.
It is.
I get that sometimes, and I realize that the reason I'm burning out is because I'm trying to say something I have no business saying. And that's on my social media. I'm just like, I'm forcing it. So I've kind of taken a step back from forcing it, and I just say whatever I want to. But realize this, in these moments where it's like super uncertain and you feel like there's so much on you because you're kind of subjected to trying to figure out what now, these are the moments that define you. You'll never see you unless these moments happen.
Exactly.
And that's the best part. That's some serious beauty. People don't learn or develop when they're happy.
I mean,
they don't. No, it's a place of gratitude, I think.
I agree with that one.
It's a place of gratitude. That's when you're just like, yes.
Yeah, you're so happy.
You're in that space. You're bubbling up that energy. But then when crap happens, it's like, okay, so you plateaued.
Yeah.
It's time to level up.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree slightly with that.
I think love.
We grow and develop when we're happy. But when we're happy, yes, it's from a place of gratitude. But I think it's also from a place of intention rather than as a result of
if you're putting it that way.
Yeah,
I understand.
I do agree.
But what are you
disagreeing.
Okay, I'm not.
But I'm just
because we were going to go
in
to
context. I do think it's possible.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes greater change happens out of the necessity of getting through those dark times.
Yeah. So, and pat yourself on the back. Ooh, I totally forgot that. Especially, we have quite a number of women in here.
I think it's all females. Is it all women?
Pat your back. Pat yourself on the back.
For the big and the little things.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going through a hard time and it's been difficult for you to get out of bed, and you willingly and excitedly got out of bed today.
Good for you.
Good job, girl.
Yeah, not every day has to dig for that pot of gold. You don't have to, do all of that. But the process is, if you take 10 minutes of your day to achieve something that you either need to do or haven't done before and you want to do, you've done it. Bravo. Pat yourself on the back. Yeah, give yourself some kudos, because you don't have a manual. Nobody's giving you the actual steps and directions for your life, for your journey. You've got a lot of clues and some, Cole's notes, but you still have to figure out what to do with it. So it's okay. Just figure it out and be okay with that. Yeah, that's definitely my messaging.
And since we already kind of touched on it, can we touch on the burnout question again?
Oh yeah, go ahead. I was just about to say it. You can go ahead.
I think especially when it comes to social media, that's something that I personally deal with a lot. It's difficult for me to personally post sometimes because I just don't feel like it. But I think if there's like a major takeaway from this conversation today, it was the point Michelle made about knowing yourself. So if you know that, you know, you are prone to burning out because of X, Y, and Z, having that understanding helps you prepare and plan to overcome it.
That's true.
So set yourself up for success by putting certain tasks and things in place so that you don't become a victim of the things that you already know you're normally succumb to. Yeah.
Because success leaves clues. We're
back. What's happening, guys?
So just to the attendees now, are there any other questions? This is the official Q&A section. So if there is anything pressing that you would like to get answered, now's the time.
Yeah, now's the time.
Don't email me. I will answer if I can, but
y'all gonna leave me hanging on that for real? Okay.
Okay. I see no questions.
I have a question for the attendees, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who are in here, what are you guys most proud of about your brand currently? And I'll be really upset if everybody doesn't answer this question. So y'all better jump in that chat.
We see your names.
Yeah, right? I will call each and every one of you out. Big or small, what are you most proud of about your brand?
Oh, my brand.
Cheyenne is asking, while you guys put your answers in the chat, Cheyenne's asking, how often should an artist drop music? Every week, every month? Michelle?
Well, Spotify is funny. I'm assuming, I'm thinking Spotify here because the more consistent you release music on Spotify that's the algorithm that picks it up. And so that's where it gets moved around and more playlist opportunities start to come your way. So utilize your own music that you've done collabs and features with. I'm going to give you a really awesome trick here. For those that may not know, for those that know, good job, keep doing that. If you're doing any features or collabs with anybody, when you distribute it up, or you put the ampersand sign next to the person instead of features. So if I did a song with Kerry-Ann, that's your and sign. This to all panelists. You got to change that.
Oh, panelists, sorry. Attendees.
Yeah.
She did what you told her not to do.
It was literally a learning.
Yeah.
task.
So if I do Michelle ampersand Kerry-Ann, what ends up happening is that song on both our profiles go to the top. Okay, whereas if you do a feature, you know, all the way down at the bottom of the Spotify page says songs with. Yeah, that's where it'll end up. So if you both do it as an ampersand, it rises to the top. And then you guys end up sharing audiences, because I'm pretty sure the person you did the collab with has their own followers, as do you. So it's a good trick of the trade. As much music as you can. I'm going to keep it real.
Just get it out there.
And if you don't want to drop the music and you're making music, build a library of your music. And here's a business tip, if you're smart with it, label it in folders of various themes, whether that be moods, events, or part of your day, like dinner, things like that. Because those are, or action, because those are songs now you can utilize for sync opportunities. So now you're building a library based on moods or themes that can support those sync opportunities, because when you get a brief for that, that's pretty much part of the description. They need a song that does this, sounds like that, and feels this way.
Right.
And so it'll help you categorize the part of your business, if you will, as far as funneling. So.
And if you guys haven't realized yet, Michelle is your strategist. She is the expert.
I love it. I do.
So if you need help,
it's smart.
Let her know. We've got a couple of answers. Trisha says she doesn't think she has a brand as yet, but she's been commended for her emotional honesty. I love that. That is really cool.
It sounds like you're on your way then.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're on your way. People feel like they can be emotionally connected to you. On what topic? Obviously, that's up to what you're doing at this time, but that topic or that conversation is clearly touching people. So kind of spend some time on that. Open it up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm most proud of finally being able to be my goofy self, and that it was welcomed by the listeners. Yes, I can't pull off the cool R&B chick bop.
And that was from Jamila.
People
I love
like
it.
weird.
Yeah.
I'm super wacky. I totally love it. You know, it's funny. I'm like super energy and like, but I cuss like a trailer, right? Like it's just horrible. I'm disgusting, and I like my jokes. The jokes are raw and
She's spicy.
I'm muy caliente. But you know what? It's just my personality. It's who I am, and that's how I demonstrate that conversation. So be you, and just be you.
Cheyenne says she's most proud of her individual success with no team.
Good for you.
Music has allowed her to travel to different places where she didn't know that she had fans. Oh, that's super fun.
Well done.
Yeah, congratulations. Hey, guys, so far, pat on the back.
Pat on the back, please. But I will tell you, Cheyenne, I'm very interested as to how far you'd go if you had a team. Ooh. And I'm pretty sure you'd sleep more at night.
Ooh.
Balance is key.
Shanti says, she's asking, how do you market an artist that does different genres? I heard you say that your fans will love you for you. However, when it comes to marketing, how does that work?
Oh, I like this question.
Very good question.
It's interesting. I just spoke about sync.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I saying too much now? If you have different feels or genres that you're playing in, maybe a couple of things. Maybe take the time to ideally understand what genre it is that you are performing in. And then the other genres that you're really working in, maybe it is for sync or to be licensed out. Or I don't know what type of, if you're talking about songwriting or if you're an instrumentalist, but if it's songwriting backed by, then perhaps maybe you can reach out to different artists that are in those genres and be their songwriter. Those are good royalties, girl.
Or if it's just you and you just want to represent multiple genres, that's okay too. We actually work with a couple of artists that do that, and again, it goes back to understanding your fan base or your audience. When you're marketing to them, you have to market to them in their language, so that you know how to actually get the music to them. So maybe the fan base to one of your genres doesn't really use Instagram much, but they use Facebook. So the bulk of your marketing should be on Facebook. Maybe the other audience likes to use TikTok. So make sure you get your music on TikTok. You have to know where your audience hangs out so you can put your material in those spaces.
For sure. Oh, and P.S., Shanti, corporate likes that. So corporate events,
diversity,
they book artists that can do that widespread. So keep that in mind as well.
And they pay money.
What else? I know we've only gotten 3 or 4 people, and there are 7 people attending this webinar. Don't make me start calling names.
You can understand how our meetings go then, right?
It sounds like mine and Lexicon's meeting. That's exactly how it is.
I know, bossy. I love it though.
But now everything.
Corporate gets so but now I'm working on my own music. Okay, yeah.
Jamila says, call him. Well, since you asked. Okay, well, help me keep track here. So far, we've had, your answer makes sense. Thanks. I'm glad you guys are having fun because we're having fun with you. So we've had Trisha, we've had Jamila, we've had Cheyenne and Shanti. Did I miss anybody? So that means Larissa, Sarah, Tajay.
These guys might be too young to know that show.
Oh, yeah. What is that, Reading Rainbow?
Something like that.
We're aging ourselves.
One thing I'm proud of, I'm an artist.
Oh, yeah. Hello,
I'm proud of. I had a breakthrough in accepting my genre. So because I'm a songwriter first, I ended up singing because I had nobody to sing my songs. I write in a lot of genres, like reggae, rock, like everything. But I had to sit down with my mom. I'm like, I write all these genres and I feel like people aren't going to know what to connect to with me. And she kind of said, okay, which song that you've written do you get most excited about? And kind of narrowed my genre down to reggae soul, but I feel like I was not accepting it because the people that have there's so much pressure, I think, and maybe a lot of artists in this group probably feel the same way, to create millennial music. So they're like bops and the hits and the club tunes, and I feel like the songs that I've written that I'm most excited about, the people who like them tend to be my mom's friends, my dad's friends, and people who are older, who would probably buy vinyl and stuff like that. So for me, there was so much. I will buy vinyl.
It is.
I will term them.
Don't you ever.
I will term them old soul, because there are a lot of people who are my age who still appreciate poetic music. But I felt like there was a lot of but I did not want to appreciate not that I didn't want to appreciate, I didn't want to embrace the disconnect that I was feeling, and once I did, I was able to identify why there was that disconnect. So that was a breakthrough for it.
Well done for working backwards. Yeah.
I was not calling anyone old. I was just
I love this. You know what? I bet you every now and then you're gonna do this.
Yeah, right.
Good for you. Good for you.
Muscle memory.
Absolutely. No, you know what? If you write like that, darling, don't hold back on any of it. That is in you. Please don't hold that back. God gave that to you.
Don't find who you are.
Get a publisher. Publisher's
this motivational for me.
Yeah, no, seriously. You are a publisher's dream. You are a publisher's dream. Anybody that can write in whatever genre, oh my God. And it's lucrative. So really take a look into that area, because it's just another aspect of your business, right? It's just business. This is just business. Don't ever let genres get you in a headspace.
Yeah.
Genres are just to identify where it's supposed to end up. Okay? That's it. That is truly, truly it. Otherwise, it's business. Get those contracts signed. Yeah.
But that sparks a question, because one thing that I did, a comment that I would get all the time is that they're like, oh, you look like a 5-year-old, or maybe 7. And then they listen to the music and they're like, people aren't going to be able to connect with it because your face doesn't match what you sing about or how you sing it. So I don't know if anybody else in the group has had that problem, but what is that something that you can overcome as an artist? Because I can't change my face. I wouldn't want to. I don't. But then I don't want to change what I enjoy putting out as an artist or what I enjoy performing. So how do you work around that disconnect that happens?
Part of me wants
Can you work around that?
No, honestly, part of me wants to just tell you, nobody, like, don't even put any energy into it, because God bless you, you're gonna get older. That baby face is not gonna last. Story. Hopefully it lasts to like 60, 70, right? But like the truth of it is, you're gonna age.
Everyone
It
ages.
shouldn't deter your purpose. I mean, I'm not joking. Music it's a choice. It really is an internal choice to do it, because it is not easy. It is insane. I revel, like my eyes tear up every time I see an artist go on stage, because I'm like, oh my God, how did they do that? It is mind blowing to me. I am so in awe by you guys. As much as I'm in this industry, I'm in awe, absolute awe what you guys can create out of nothing, or a tiny thought, or a blade of grass blowing in the wind. All of a sudden, it's like you've got the hook in verse 1 and 2, right? My point is, can't deny purpose. So do you, boo. The face is aesthetics. The soul lasts forever.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? So do what you gotta do from where you're going on in here.
It'll also work for you, unless it really bothers you. Run with it, because everybody loves a good surprise. I
get you though, because I'm 5 feet tall. Without makeup, I'm honestly a 12-year-old child. And being in corporate, for example, I used to manage like large corporations, from a financial standpoint. So to walk in certain boardrooms, I immediately saw the look on their face.
Yeah.
Like, this little girl is gonna
Take a hit slowly.
right. But what came out of my mouth earned the respect that I received.
Mhm.
You have to kind of get over what and how God made you. You kind of have to.
Don't get over
It's
it.
just
Just work
aesthetics.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not. I mean, when I say get over it as a negative, because it really is aesthetics. It's what comes from you that really, really matters. Now, from a brand perspective, I get that, but you're gonna figure it out how you want to portray yourself, and let the music speak for you, not your face.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Shanti says, it's more like my sound has that old soul when it comes to reggae.
Yummy.
Majority of the people my age are into other stuff. And that's
Other
okay.
people have the same problem.
Listen, a lot of people have
But that is good.
You're definitely
Yeah.
not alone. But it's okay. At the end of the day, you want to find the people who will love and appreciate your art for what it truly is without taking anything away from it, because they are the ones who will pay. Anybody else doesn't matter, because even if they showed up, or if they just ignore them. You need the people who are willing to pay for it.
I think we're labeling this wrong. I really do. I know we're using the words. The problem. It's not a problem. It is your perception.
Yeah, it's your preference.
It's just the way you're perceiving it based on how you are allowing it to make you feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good clarification.
Yeah, it's just how you are allowing it. You were agreeing to what that feeling is doing for you, whether it's positive or negative. So you and you alone have the power to change the perception to make it feel like it's a positive and it's working for you.
Yeah, because it will work for you. You just have to.
There's only you anyway, so it has to, right? If there's two of you, I want to know. I want the patent to that,
right?
Because I want to make a next one of me so I can sleep in. Okay? Right.
Alrighty. 7:24. Any final questions? And a lot of people have been. Oh, we didn't get a lot of.
No. So Larissa, Sarah, and Tajay.
Like high school.
Yeah, right?
I did high school in Jamaica, so it's really like high school. It's
Absolutely.
like you get called out for everything. Everything.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well,
Oh, Jamila, can we have a part two?
two.
Y'all have a great vibe. Oh, they like us. They really like us.
You can pressure Afrowave.
Right? We are.
Who knows?
This was fantastic.
We just might.
Yeah, this is fantastic. And honestly, if we're not having fun, I kind of don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I am a business sense. I have the business sensibility to address things as they should, but man, it's about enjoying it while you're doing it, you know? So
we have one life, guys. If you're not enjoying everything that you're doing, or at least trying to, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I actually, you know that saying, life is short? I don't agree with that. No. If you can find anything longer than that, let me know.
Please.
So do it well. Do it with love. Live how you need to, and whatever serves and supports you. If you do something that you have to look back on and feel like it was not who you represent today, forgive yourself for that. Keep it pushing. Yeah. You learned, and you just identified something that doesn't serve you. That's okay. That's the whole point of this right here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
keep learning and experimenting, guys.
Real talks. And keep giving us music, because God knows it was music that got us through the last 6 months globally. Man. Like globally. So please.
Alrighty.
World with your music. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not even going to say I hope, I'm sure we've all learned something. Lots of gems were dropped tonight. We're just looking at, we need a part two. Really enjoyed what you had to say. Awesome. I just want to give you guys like the last couple of minutes to kind of tell us about anything that Hook & Co is doing, anything that you want to make us aware of, anything you're super proud of that you want to share with us before we wrap up.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow, what we're doing a lot. You know what? One, I'm going to ask you guys to tune into our page next month. Next month is our 5-year anniversary, and every single day for those full 30 days, we're going to be having all sorts of deals on various services and consultations and access to all sorts of goodies that we've kind of tucked away and we're planning to do. So the Hook & Co. Is our handle, pretty much right across the board. Or thehookandco.com is our website if you want to go check us out. If you want to talk a little more as far as consultations and strategies and things like that, I love it. As to what we're doing, we're prepping for 2021. We've got some awesome workshops that will be happening that will be supporting our community.
There's your part 2, guys.
Yeah, getting in. Yeah, we have, and we're planning for a women's retreat for next year. Sorry, I didn't want to take it away.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So it's called Gone Girl. Look out for it. Due to COVID, we weren't able to execute it this year, but everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as long as you guys stay connected to us, we will make sure we continue connecting with you and let you guys know when things will actually be happening so you can attend.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all our referrals, if it means anything that we offer from your end, there's zero cost. Let us do some of the work for you. Okay, in finding the things and the services and the people and the businesses and all those resources that you need, so you can get back the time to brand yourself properly, stay in the studio, make new music, just do you. Please, please let us help you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kerr, you're awesome.
Again. Thank you
for having us.
Absolutely. And to
fun.
Afrowave, yes.
And thank you to all the attendees for participating and just being here. Like, we really
I always say
your energy.
there's no webinar without the attendees.
Otherwise, we'd be talking to
I'm grateful for everyone that tuned in. We have an artist management workshop next week, same day, same time. And of course, the link will be in the bio at AfrowaveTO. If you have any questions, you can email us at operations@afrowaveto.com. And next week we have Katrina Lopez from KL Management and Troy Harmon from X10 Entertainment. So it's looking to be a very
It's
good
fantastic, guys. Tune into that. Yeah, they're all fantastic.
But yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Absolutely. Enjoy, guys. Be safe. Make music.